Welcome to the journey of an awakening spirit with your host, Kathleen Flanagan. The journey of an awakening spirit is about teaching you a variety of tools that you can use to step into your true self. It is about self-discovery, realizing you are not alone on your journey. We will open the phone lines, give readings, and talk about what our listeners want to know. So please welcome the host of the journey of an awakening spirit, Kathleen Flanagan.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show, The Journey of an Awakening Spirit. I am your host, Kathleen Flanagan, and we are on the Bold Brave TV network. And today what I'd like to do is just introduce who I am, how I got into what I'm doing, and where I am today. It all started when I was about 16 years old. My mother had invited me to go to an Edgar Casey meditation group. And I was bored. And so I said, what the heck? Why not just go? And so anyways, in that, we did a meditation, and what I thought was God at the time, I received the rod and the staff, and I was told that I was going to change the world. And of course, at 16, what did I tell them? I said they were nuts. And I just argued with them and said, there's no way. I was so lost and suicidal at that time that I couldn't even fathom any of this. But anyways, what happened is I of course accepted it and said, okay, if you think I can do it, I'll give it my best shot. And I apologize. I have a cattail in the screen. And so I told everyone about this meditation that I had, and everybody kind of oohed and awed. And I just thought something like this was natural that people have on a regular basis, which they didn't. And my mother was very jealous as well. And she let me know that she thought what I had experienced was not real and that I had made it all up, and told me that I couldn't see anything. Now, I am a very intuitive person, and I can see, which I shut down when my mother said that, from the power of suggestion, but I could see, I can hear, and I can feel. And I have a very, very, very profound sense of who I am and where I belong. And I trusted that because I thought everybody could do what I did. And that's not the case. So anyways, as I got older, I ended up in a drug rehab because like I said, I was suicidal and I just wanted to live. And if I was going to have my parents' life, I would rather be dead because I could not see living a life that way. So as it was, I ended up in South Florida in a drug rehab, and I didn't do much drugs. It was just that the attitude of death was there for me. And I continued on. I got straight, I got off of drugs, and I just started really discovering who I was. Now, I didn't have a voice back then. I did not know how to speak. I didn't know how to communicate. The only way I knew how to go through life was through dance. It was the only way I knew how to express myself at that time. And things would bubble up like they do when you're learning about yourself and having to realize that, you're not perfect. And that's 18 years old. That's really hard to accept as well. I would just explode. I just would vomit on people in a very explosive way because I had no way of understanding anything about me. I had no idea who I was at the time. I felt very lost and confused, but I continued moving forward. And I started studying the principles. I learned how to meditate. And that was probably the biggest gift that I gave myself, was learning to meditate, because I started to realize who I was. I started to feel peace and tranquility. I was able to realize that I was bigger than who I thought I was at the time. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. There was so much that I had to learn as the years progressed to really understand and how to anchor all of that in. And that's a lot of what I want to talk about during the show, is just various tools that I've learned along the way that have helped. And it was a variety of tools, because everything I learned to do, some things work better than others, but everything led me to where I am today. I ended up moving to Colorado, and the reason I moved out here was because my grandmother, who was deceased at the time, was like nudging me to call my mom. And I was estranged from my family for a lot of reasons, and we'll be discussing all of that in the months to come. But and I just wouldn't listen to her. I just didn't want to be bothered because I didn't want to deal with my family because they were crazy people, in my opinion. And I was crazy too, and I didn't want to add to my own craziness. So I refused to deal with my family. And one day I was going through the dining room and she just screamed as loud as she could in my ear and says, "Call your mother now." And I was like, okay. So I picked up the phone, called my mother, and then I ended up going out for a visit to Colorado. And a year later, I moved out because I absolutely loved it out here. It was time to move. South Florida wasn't a safe place to be anymore. But in the process of, before I did all that, I was learning more about spirituality. I was discovering who I was. I learned about the Brotherhood of the White Light. I was working with the Brotherhood of the White Light. I had meditations that I was a member of the Council of Nine. I know some of these terms can be very foreign to you, and we will eventually get into all of it. And the part that was hardest for me was when I would go into meditation and just the peacefulness and the love that I felt. And I got to a point where I didn't want to go into meditation anymore because I never wanted to come back because the world was very harsh. And it's nothing like what it is today, but it was still very harsh for me because I'm very sensitive. I feel everything. I have water and fire in my chart. I have no air and no earth. So I feel everything and I have the passion of a lion. Okay. I mean, that is just who I am. And, and every time I went up to the Council of Nine and we kind of just talked about things or went progress reports or whatever it was that we discussed at the time, it was always time to leave. And I said, no, I don't want to go. And it's like, well, you have to go. And I said, I don't want to go. And I'm not going to go. You can't make me. And then they would just kind of proceed to like tell me why I'm going back to Earth. And I did every time. I always went. And it was just kind of it's just like a game I play with spirit. I don't know why I do it, but I still do it to this day where I just just a little bit combative at times. And it's all good. They'll accept me. They love me. It's okay. And I'm not near as bad as I used to be, but I still do it. And then when I came out here, I found the School of Metaphysics, and I ended up in there and I started learning a little bit more about harnessing my intuition. And my teacher at the time had told me that she couldn't believe that I was as intuitive as I was. And I told her, and she said, people would give their right arm to have 1/10 of what you have. And I said, well, they can have it. And she was mortified that I would actually say such a thing. But what she didn't understand is that being that intuitive, you feel things, you hear things, you see things, and it's not like you can say things to people, or if I did, I would scare people, not realizing what I was doing at the time. And I just really struggled with it. And so what we did is I just started to learn how to harness it, because she said, once you start harnessing this, you're going to be able to not have these wild, crazy dreams. And you'll be able to understand a little bit more of who you are. And since she was an astrologer, I started learning more about myself because of astrology. And that was, to me, very fascinating. Not that I wanted to study it, but it was very fascinating because I finally understood a lot more of why I was here, why I was the way that I was, what I was here to learn. And the main thing was I needed to know who I was. That was the main thing I chose to learn in this lifetime, is who am I really? And I have spent a lifetime learning who I am, and I know who I am, because in astrology they say that when I pass after this lifetime, I will never not know who I am ever again. So it's pretty exciting. It's taken a lifetime. It's a journey. It's a lifelong journey. And anyways, but I learned more about healing, how to read energy better. I was not necessarily developing more of my intuition, but trusting my intuition. And then as a result of that, I was given a message to that I was going to work with the oils practically 10 years before I started. And I was coming down my stairs in this apartment I was living in, and Spirit, it was clear as day, you're going to be studying, you're going to be working with the oils. I'm like, okay, whatever that meant. I had no clue. I mean, we didn't have internet back then. We didn't have anything. We weren't even anywhere remotely where we are with technology or alternative health or any of that. Well, 10 years later, because I had gone through some serious illness, I had gotten a swollen epiglottis. I was hospitalized for several days. I almost died. They were going to do a tracheotomy on me because I couldn't breathe because I had a severe sinus infection. And what happened was, from that, because they prescribed 500 milligrams of antibiotics for a month, and then in an additional 2 weeks, I had an additional 250 milligrams of antibiotics, and I got candida because of it. Now, I didn't know this at the time, and I didn't realize that this was a malpractice suit at the time. But I ended up getting very sick. I started becoming a migraine sufferer on a regular basis because I always had migraines, but never to the degree that I was getting them where they were lasting several days. I missed work. I was taking scalding hot showers. I was doing all sorts of things to hurt myself, but to try to heal myself. And the one day I got out of the shower after I was just sitting in a scalding hot shower, I was butt-ass naked on the floor, and I was crying to God and just said, please take me now. This is no way to live. I'm not going to live like this. This pain is unbearable. This is not what we're supposed to experience in this life. And the next day, I think I felt better, and I went to the office, and I was talking to a coworker, and she introduced me to a naturopath, and she got me off of, I was on Coptis for 2 weeks, no, a month, I think it was, 2 bottles. It was horrible. And I started feeling better. And as I started feeling better, I started paying attention to what's in my house that's not making me feel good, like the chemicals for cleaning, harsh chemicals for my body, my soap, lotions, all these things. And I started going down this path. And again, I'm still about 10 to 20 years ahead of everybody else on natural healing modalities. And a friend of mine and I, well, my astrologer friend, the teacher, she and I went to the Botanic Gardens, and she said, lavender would help with your headaches. And I'm like, yeah, okay, if you say so. And she was right, because I ended up buying a bottle, even though I thought she was crazy. I bought a bottle, and I smelled it and put it on my temples right here, because I could feel a migraine coming on, and it was hours later, and I was vacuuming my house, and I realized that I should have been in a full-fledged migraine, and there was something to this. And I ended up taking an aromatherapy class with Mindy Green out here in Boulder, and I fell in love with essential oils. I just fell in love with them. I didn't know how they worked, why they worked. All I knew is that they worked. And my mother was my guinea pig at that point, because she had all sorts of different ailments. And it was like, here, Mom, try this, try this, try this. And everything worked for that woman. And I just accepted that this was what was going to go on, and that it worked. And then CBD comes along, and I launch a Grandma's Natural Remedies line that is for pain, which is just strictly CBD, isolate and broad spectrum, because I started realizing that the cannabinoid system, and we are wired for CBD, and I was just blown away as far as how effective that was. And the one thing everybody complained about, besides the fact that there's a lot of fraud in this industry, was people complained about how long it took to have relief. And when you use my products, there was relief instantly, because all my products are topical. And I use essential oils. And the amazing thing about this is that essential oils and CBD work so well together. And the reason I got into CBD is I had a very sick cat who ended up dying at 7.5 months, but we gave him CBD, and we got 2 more weeks of life out of him, because he was just amazing. I mean, it was just amazing to experience that. Well, we'll be right back with a message from our sponsors.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
It was almost instant, I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Mike Zorek, a 3-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a 6-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and 2 fourths. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Kathleen Flanagan, and we are on the Bold Brave TV network. Okay, so the goal of what I want to do here on the show is that I want to teach you some training techniques and tools that you can use to help in your evolution, in your growth, to help you give you some coping mechanisms, a different way to look at things, start learning about what your paradigms are, how your thoughts are things, all that kind of stuff. Because until we get a handle on what we're thinking or not thinking, nothing's going to change in your world. And that was probably the biggest thing, because when we have paradigms, a lot of times it's our subconscious mind that is talking to us. And if we don't know what those things are, then we just keep having the same experiences over and over and over again until you do something different. And a lot of times we don't know what that different is, and we don't even know what's running us. And a lot of the teachings and the techniques and the tools that I've learned over the years has actually helped me to start understanding. So even though I had paradigms, and I think the biggest one that hit me the hardest was my mother had always told me that you work to pay your bills. Well, I didn't have any bills and I didn't have any money. And that didn't work for me. So I had to rethink about working and why I was working. And it wasn't about just making money to pay my bills. I worked so I could enjoy my life, do things, experience different things in life. But it took being in this place where I had no money coming in and feeling poor that I realized that paradigm came in, and then I was able to shift it. So there are things that, as we go through our journey in life, we learn things along the way with that. I also intend to have guest speakers in once a month, usually the second Tuesday of the month. I intend to have a speaker in that's just going to talk about, what it's like to be living their dream, what their spiritual evolution has taken, why they're on the path that they're on, just a lot of variety, because I think you can gain a lot from learning other people's experiences and perspectives, because sometimes they have an experience that is very similar to you that you can relate to way better than you could ever relate it to me. I mean, it's just what it is. I know that I'm not all things to all people. I already know that. I'm not ignorant, and I'm not egotistical that way. I know that there's a lot to learn in life, and there's a lot of different ways. I mean, when they say there's so many different ways back home to God, there's a reason why they say that, because there are a lot of different ways, and we resonate with people differently. And I'm hoping to bring a wide variety of people to talk about just lots of different things. Because I think when you're talking to people and they're having dreams, and are dreams that if they're really big and meaningful, they're not going to happen overnight. We want to live in a 7-Eleven world, but things don't manifest that quickly. I mean, we still have to go through the 7 layers of consciousness. We have to bring everything back before it manifests. But it's the big reason for that big dream is about your evolution. It's about the journey. And that's why I call this the journey of the awakening spirit, because I was always rushing to the destination, and I could never understand it's the journey to the destination that's where you're going to find the value. And I know what that means now. I mean, I truly understand that. But that was a lifelong journey, because I was so impatient. And, we're perfect the way we are. Everything we do is perfect. If we were supposed to be someplace else, we would be. So where you are is perfect, where you belong. And that's what you chose based on your thoughts that you've had at that time. Those are the thoughts that you've had to be where you are today. And when you start changing your thoughts, even if you take one tiny baby step in a different direction, the miles of change that will happen down the road is unfathomable. And those are the things that I kind of want you to experience and to show you through that. And then I'm also going to have Zach Lyotis on my show the last Tuesday of every month. Now, she is an amazing woman, and she is my soul sister in my mind, because she and I can sit down and have a conversation, and her life is mine, mine is hers. We have had some of the most bizarre experiences, not always the pleasant experiences, but she talks to spirit like I do. She's willing to, we're going to open phone lines so you can have a Q&A session. She may be willing to give readings. I mean, it's going to be up to her what she chooses to do. But we laugh all the time about our experiences when we talk to each other. And, you know, we talked about the show, and it's like the things that these people are going to hear is just going to blow their minds of what goes on. But I think you're going to have a lot of fun because we intend to bring a lot of healing through the show. And laughter is one of the best ways to heal. And we're going to probably laugh a whole lot. So that's pretty much what the outline of the show is. I'm also have an email that's going to be bravetv@KathleenMFlanagan.com. So that way, if you have any questions or if you have any topics that you would like to talk about or have us talk about on the show, I am more than willing to do this because I want this show to be about you. I want what it is that you're looking for in the show. I don't need to sit here and just rattle on about how, you know, what I've been through and how wonderful I think I might be or not, or any of that. It's just that I have a lot of experiences and I've walked my talk through every bit of everything I'm going to share with you is what I've been through. And I haven't had an easy life by any stretch of the imagination. And, you know, there's a journey. I mean, we have the dark night of the soul that we'll talk about. There's my experiences moving to Chicago. I will talk about various abuses that I've experienced and how I've dealt with them and what spirit had brought forth, how I turned around and changed my perspective and how to deal with it, looking at what my paradigms are, how to be happy, because that's totally up to me to be. Nobody else can make me happy but me. And just because life is happening around me and life sucks some days doesn't mean I don't have to be happy. And just really taking control of your thoughts, because that's really paramount of having the best life you can have. And that doesn't mean shit's not going to happen, because it will. It just will. It's just what it is, but it's how you handle it, how you manage it. And I have so many tools in how to deal with that and how to walk through your fears when they come up, when you start making big changes. It's just, there's just so much. I can't even tell you how much there is. And I'm so excited about the show. And I have, you know, because I'm also a consultant, I also have programs that are on the KMF site that you can download or purchase about, you know, healing and how various meditations, how to open your heart through sound, because there's just so much. And then, of course, on Instagram and Facebook, I also, and now TikTok, I'm actually putting up little tip videos out there on what I'm going to be talking about on the show. So these are like 3-minute tip videos, but we can unpack them as we proceed through the show. And I do definitely have a lot of that coming up. I've already kind of planned the next several months of the shows, and I hope you find it worth it. And I will be opening phone lines as well, and I may be taking polls, or we can have discussions. I mean, it's just going to be a wide variety of things, and I'm just going to let Spirit guide me as we go through, because Spirit really is guiding the show, and I'm pretty excited about it. But the one thing that I think is really cool about being on this show, and when I was contacted, I had broken a bone in my hand in August, and Spirit had been telling me to slow down, and I by the time I broke my hand, it was like, if I go any slower, I'm going to be dead. That's how I felt. I might as well just be dead. But what I was doing is I was getting ready to go on the speaking circuit, because I wanted to get out there, and I've always saw myself on stage, and I wanted to be on stage. And as I was sitting there, and I'm thinking, well, I don't know if I really want to go through all the DIA, you know, TSA stuff at airports and certain things. And I mean, I'll do it, but it wasn't something that was really exciting me at the time, because the airports make me crazy with all this TSA stuff. And so I just sat there, and it's like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do or what I want. And then I get this email from Bold Brave TV, and I was intrigued by it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to respond. And, you know, and I remember talking to one of the producers, I think is what his title is. And he said, I don't believe in coincidences. I said, well, let me tell you, I do. And let me tell you why. And what was so funny about this was, because he's like, everybody likes you, everybody's seen you, you're like the whole package, everybody wants you on the show. And he said, and it's all AI that found you. And I said, well, let me tell you something of why this was not a coincidence. I said, I've only been doing this for 5 years, and there are people that have been doing this way longer than me that are more knowledgeable, have been on the stages more, are more polished than I am. And I said, but for some reason you found me for the 5 short years, and I haven't done much in the last couple of years, and yet you found me. I said, there is something there. And so part of this is the dream that I had was to speak in front of thousands of people, like 50,000 people on stages. And I think that what was so funny about this is that it was always this or something better, because why should I put myself in a box on a dream that I might have? So when you say this or something better, then you're allowing spirit, God, the angels, whatever you want to call it, to come in and help you. And this was the something better. And to me, it's like it's taken forever to get here. It hasn't, but it just felt like it because I got so excited about this show. Being able to have a new platform to reach people, to be able to talk to people, to be able to share what I need to say, because I have a lot to say. And a lot of what I talk about is the real thing. I don't think I'm your go-to guru by any stretch of the imagination. If I don't have what you need, then find somebody else is what I encourage you. But I want to teach you how to find the right teachers for you and learn how to trust your gut in the process, because a lot of times there's a lot of phony people out there that are just, let me take your money. And yeah, money we need to live on and survive on, but there's a lot of people that take your money and deliver nothing. And I'm so much the opposite. I give so much more than receiving on the back end. And I'm working on changing that, about, working through my own worthiness issues and deserve issues, and that I'm worthy to receive this money because, from abundance, he took abundance, and yet abundance remained. And it took me a long time to truly understand that. And somebody had put that into, from the ocean, you put in a tablespoon and you take the water out. So from abundance, he took abundance, and yet abundance remains. So if you take it as that you've got a tablespoon and you're taking water out of the ocean, does the ocean see it or miss it? No, because there's that much more. And to me, when I really started to understand that concept and make sense of it, I got it. And that's what I want to do, is just give as much as I can for you to be able to pick up the ball and start moving in that new direction, because we are in the middle of a huge transition on this planet, and it's so exciting. And I want you guys to be able to handle that. Well, we're going to take a break now. We're going to hear from our sponsors, and I will see you back in a few minutes.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery, or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Welcome back, everyone. I am your host, Kathleen Flanagan, and we are on the Bold Brave TV network. So I want to tell you just a little bit more about how you can get in touch with me on some of the services and things that I do offer. I am a certified coach, and you can find all of my information at KathleenMFlanagan.com. And I have tools there. I have meditations. I have I have a lot of podcasts and videos that I've done, blog posts, that kind of thing, that kind of give you a rundown of everything. And I do have YouTube, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I also have Awakening Spirit is the aromatherapy company I was talking about. So it's a natural line of organics, essential oil products, body care products. So I do hair, skin, massage oils, insect, room sprays, therapeutic oils, all of that. And I'm in the process of redesigning the packaging. I'm in the very early stages, but we are in the process of doing it. So I'm pretty excited. So we're going to be doing more sustainable packaging, even though most of the product is glass. But we're going to go a little bit more sustainable and just kind of stay on where this world is going, and to stay true to what I've always felt about the company is that I have always been about taking care of the earth, protecting the earth. And I started this 30 years ago before recycle was out, before anything was out. I was already doing this and talking to people about organics and so on and so forth. And people thought I was a little crazy because they didn't know what I was talking about yet. And yet here we are in a world that is totally about that today. And so if you're interested in learning more, you can go to awakeningspirit.com, and there's a list of all the products and what I do. And we just redesigned that website just recently, just so we can give it a facelift then, but now we're going to move it to the next level. And for all of the viewers here, because we are in the process of redesigning the company packaging, what I'm offering is that if you decide to buy something, in the coupon code, just type in Brave TV and you will receive a 40% discount on the products. So this is a gift that I'm giving to you. So that way you can start experiencing a little bit more about what I do. And also the other thing that I do have is Grandma's Natural Remedies with .net, and that is the CBD company. Now there's only like about a handful of products. It's all topical. It works with sleep. It works with pain. I'm doing, we have a pet blend. Well, it's not really a blend, but it's CBD, and everything's in organic hemp seed oil. Do have essential oils. We also do stress, like a chill out. So all of this works very quickly and efficiently. And when I use this on the sleep, because, you know, when women go through menopause, one of the biggest complaints we all seem to suffer from is we forgot to learn how to sleep. We forgot how to sleep. And what I found when I put the Sleep Well with the CBD and on the bottom of my feet, within 3 or 4 days, I stopped using it because I remembered how to sleep. So when I do have a lot on my mind or whatever, I use it. And people that have had back injuries, knee replacements, all that kind of stuff, arthritis, people have used it and it was instant relief on the product. So we have a lot of testimonials. I did a lot of research on this product before I brought it out to the market. And so, I mean, those are, and also if you enter Brave TV in the coupon code there, you'll receive a 20% discount on the product as well. So that's just a little bit about how to get in touch with me. I also have Brave TV at KathleenMFlanagan.com, and that is, all those emails will come directly to me. I will see them because it's related to the show. It's not going to go through the network. It's so that way I can answer directly, or we can have whatever on the show, whatever you want. I just want this to be an interactive show, and that we start connecting in such a cool way, that because we're all one. And I'm sure some of the things that you've been through, I would love to hear about, because, you know, we all have these unique journeys and we learn from each other sometimes through the journeys that we go through. And when I created Awakening Spirit, to me, I called it that because it was a way that I started waking up my spirit. You know, aromatherapy helps you to remember who you are by smelling through the olfactory. And because our essential oils are in a crazy toxic environment, those are adapting, and they help us to adapt to the craziness that's happening to our planet right now, which then helps us to relax and calm down more. So that's kind of why when Awakening Spirit started, that was the whole point, that was a way for me to be able to do this. And then I became an esthetician, and I also became a sound therapist at the same time. And so what I wanted to do is this healing modality that I received from the Archangel Ariel back when I went out to Chicago was just an amazing experience. And I really learned how to bring a different type of healing modality. And I do have on the KMF site, I do have a free 3-minute de-stress meditation. And all it's doing is realigning your chakras to help you get back into balance with yourself and to be able to maintain your equilibrium in this crazy world that we live in. And so that's a free gift. There's no email required to that. And so you're welcome to go to the website and download that. And it gives you an introduction to what sound does. And I also am an esthetician, and I love it because, you know, that whole touch and getting a facial and just being in somebody's energy, and you come out and you feel rejuvenated and refreshed, and 20 years on your face from, you know, a crazy month, and you look rejuvenated and hydrated, and, you know, and you're bouncing around like a little kid again. I mean, that's the cool part about touch. And when Spirit asked me to become an esthetician, I thought they were nuts. And they showed me the reason why I was going to become an esthetician wasn't so I could give facials. It was about the healing that I was going to experience and what I was going to give to others. And what I found that when I talked to people or I touched them, they just opened up their heart and told me things that they don't tell anybody. And I just listened. That's all I ever did, is that I just open a space and I create a space for you to come and share whatever you need to share. If you need, I mean, sometimes I'll talk back and tell you like my opinion or thoughts. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes you just need an ear. And what happened in that relationship with a lot of my clients was I was getting healed too. I was like, oh my God, I'm not alone in this world. Others feel the same way I do. And it was like, it helped me to open up and blossom even more, because I thought I was the Lone Ranger. I thought I was the only one on the planet feeling what I felt, experiencing what I felt. I thought everybody had a way easier life than me, and I was just doomed to a life of drudgery. And even though I never had that kind of life, it's what I thought about my life. And when I became an esthetician and worked on people and did sound with them as well, all that changed and everything shifted about me. And when the 2020 pandemic came along, I knew this was coming for a very, very long time. I knew this when I was a little kid. I knew this was coming, and I didn't know what it was or what it would look like back then, but I knew it. And I had to really work on my thought processes during that. As a lot of us had to, because it was a very challenging time, but it was a very healing time, and it was an amazing time on many, many levels that most of us will probably never know the full extent of what the pandemic was all about. But the one thing that came out of that for me was that I got brave and I started becoming a guest on podcast shows. And I started to realize I really do know a lot. I really do. Like, I really embraced who I was. I really took that on. And when I said after, when they tried to carry this on for another year, and I said, no, I'm done. I'm done. And what I had to do with my mental thinking to get back into the place that I needed to be in, and not in this depressed state of mind and isolation and all of that, because it really did something in my mind, which I think it did to a lot of people. And that's why our world is the way it is today. But coming back from that, and the tools that I use that I would be more than happy to share with you on what that entailed, to come back into a world. And even though this world is not the same, it'll never be the same, but we are still going up on the evolutionary process. We are still climbing. We are still elevating. Light is still coming in, and it's hitting us. And the darkness that we see, it's only because the light is hitting all the darkest recesses of people on this planet. And we are becoming aware. We are seeing, our lights are shining, and we're becoming those etherical beings, even though we're still physical and we're dense and everything else. And just because you're awakened doesn't mean you're not going to have human experiences, and you're not going to feel anger and rage and frustration and joy and happiness. And, it's just judgments people put on our emotions. And it's just an emotion. It's not a judgment. It's just an emotion. And when you're feeling that you're in something that you really hate, like fear or terror or panic, it's just be with it. Just breathe into it. And within 90 seconds, it'll be gone. But you have to breathe into it, because that's part of our spirit. That's part of what's happening inside. Is our ego is terrified about something because you're making a change in your life. And instead of lashing out at people, it's just be quiet and be still. Because when you be quiet and you're still and you give time for yourself, is when you can calm down and you can get out of the rat race and you can create the world that you want. Because even though our world is insane right now, it is not my world. I refuse to have that world in my life, because I believe that I can have everything and then some. And it's all in how I choose to think about, and what I think about, and how I respond, and how I handle myself in life. And I've been finding, because I've been working so much on that within myself, I'm finding that things aren't rattling me as much. I mean, I roll my eyes a lot, like, oh God, here we go again. And the main thing is that we had this torrential downpour for an hour 2 weeks ago, with hail and everything, at midnight to 1 o'clock in the morning. When I went out the next day, the whole area was flooded. I mean, literally, it was flooded everywhere. And we just discovered last night that my crawl space in my basement is flooded, and it was like standing water. We didn't even know it, because we just went down there and we started taking the water up, and it was like, I don't care. I'm not dealing with it tonight. I'm not dealing with it today. I will deal with it after the show, because right now it's about this. It's like, this is what's most important. I'll deal with the water. I mean, I'm an environmental consultant, so trust me, I understand about mold and everything else, and we got to get this taken up. But it's just, when you work on your mind, the things that happen in life are just situations, circumstances, and events, and there's no emotion tied to it. So next week, I want to talk about transformation, the fundamentals of alignment. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to start unpacking some of that. And also, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching. This is Kathleen Flanagan with The Journey of an Awakening Spirit on the Bold Brave TV network. And from my heart to yours, I will see you next week. Bye for now.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. Rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies. Find settings that allow them to be the most productive and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back, everyone. I am your host, Kathleen Flanagan, and we are on the Bold Brave TV network. So we are having technical difficulties on this end. This is so funny. This is so funny. I can't hear my engineer. We are doing everything through chat. I thought I had two 15-minute segments and an 8 and found out it's 3 15 and an 8. So, it's a little crazy today, but you know what? This is how I'm handling it. It's like, I'm not upset, don't care. It's a little backwards. Who cares? It's what it is, I just get to spend 15 more minutes with you. And this is just when you work on your mind and you work on being happy and not allowing your circumstances, situations, and events control your life and your emotions. You just take it with a grain of salt, then you just move with a grain of salt. I mean, it's just so easy to just flow through life. And that's what's happening. I think this is a prime example of what's going on today. With the water in my basement and I have this going on and I'm just like, whatever, who cares? Life is still going on. I'm still happy. I'm still here. I just don't want to be fazed by a lot of things. It doesn't mean things don't upset me. Trust me, I still can rage. I can be very good at it, but I'm not near as bad as I was about it because I don't take everything personally. And I think that was the main thing when you start getting a handle on your emotions and identifying what those emotions are, because a lot of people don't know what their emotions are. They just know they feel something, but they don't know what that something is. So when you take time to really think about, well, what is it that you're feeling and why are you feeling it and what may have triggered that feeling? And you start analyzing that and reflecting back on it, then you can start learning how you respond. Because one of the things that I've learned that when a situation happened, I would always respond in anger and then took it personally. And a lot of times, somebody bumps into my car or I get in an accident, doesn't mean it's my fault. It's just what is, but I take it personally, like, well, God's mad at me or, whatever it is strange things that I think, because I always used to take, well, I still do on too many levels. I still do it. I'm really working on this one about not taking everything personally, because the thing is that because I can read people really, really well and I can see through people. And if I confront people, they don't necessarily like it. And I used to take that personally, and I used to keep my mouth shut because I wanted people to like me all the time. And then when people started liking me, I was like, why are you liking me? I don't think I want you to like me. Because I was so insecure about who I was that it was so much easier to have people stay away from me, and I used my anger as a defense mechanism. And I decided one day back in 2008, I didn't want to be that person anymore. So I made a conscious choice to start changing. And all of this is actually in my books. I actually wrote a trilogy. It's Dancing Souls, The Journey of an Awakening Spirit. And 2 of the 3 of the books are already published, and you can get them on Amazon. But it's actually a journey of what I went through in my wake-up process. And in the book, I don't have the language that I have today. It was raw. It was very raw, what I was going through, what I was feeling, what I was experiencing. But I was so connected to spirit, I can't even begin to tell you the things that were coming in at that point in time in my life. It was mind-blowing of what was going on. But it's also a very dark book. When you start getting into book 2, it starts getting dark, because when you start moving and changing paradigms and wanting to be a better person, all of your stuff starts coming up. All the head trash comes up. And it was just how I just kept saying, this is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I want. And I just kept believing in that and finding security in myself. And there are times that in this book, because I was working with God and they were talking to me, my guides were talking to me all the time, Spirit was talking to me. I was having some of the most amazing experiences, some of the most amazing dreams on the planet. And it was all part of what we go through as we wake up. And what I found in that process was there were times when I was so upset, and that I can't even fathom how God can love us when I see what we do to people and animals and our environment, and how God could love us to that degree, because I certainly can't love like that. I truly admit that. And there were times when I just said, God, I think you should just kill us all now, including me, because there was just so much pain and turmoil, and I didn't even know how to even express it, and just the disgust. And then it was again, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And change your thinking. So even though, because I feel that this mission that I'm on was so big and so huge that I didn't think I could do it. I mean, it was just that big of a dream of what they wanted me to do. And yet I always saw where I am today. I always saw it. And yet here I am today going through this and knowing that no one can do what I do. Just like whatever your mission and goal or dream is in life, no one but you can do it. You're the one that holds the dream. You're the one. We're all cogs on a wheel. And because we're cogs on a wheel, we all play a role. And every person has a purpose. So even if they're an antagonist to you, that's a good thing, because they're showing you something. They're teaching you something that you can't normally see within yourself. And so when you're seeing that, it helps you to grow and evolve and become more compassionate and understanding of other people. And that's like what this book of The Journey of the Awakening Spirit, what this trilogy is all about, as far as my journey of why I came down here and what I was here to do. And it was, when I was writing the book, at times I'm like, oh my God, Spirit's just dictating some of this stuff, just dictating. And I'm like, oh my God, what would she do? What would she do? And, but it was exciting. And life is supposed to be like that. Even when it's hard, life should still be exciting. We should still come with a childlike place and heart. And if you're coming from a childlike place and you can remember what it was like being a child, you're going to make your life so much easier and so much better. And I just want to say thank you so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate you taking your time to be with me, because I know how precious time is. And I will see you next week, and have a great, fabulous week, and make it the best day ever. Bye for now.
This has been The Journey of an Awakening Spirit with your host, Kathleen Flanagan. Join Kathleen each week as she will inspire and empower all those who are drawn to her to live their highest vision in the context of love and joy. Right here Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network.